What would you do if $6.4 trillion vanished in just 48 hours? For millions of Americans, this isn't a hypothetical, it's a financial nightmare. The stock market is crashing, retirement accounts are bleeding red, and yet, the former president is golfing, insisting everything's fine. But here's the real question. What's actually happening behind the scenes of this economic collapse? In today's episode, we're pulling back the curtain on how one sweeping policy decision, Trump's new global tariff plan, shook the US economy to its core. And trust me, what we found might just change how you see the future of your money. Welcome back to Profit Powerhouse, the channel where we decode finance, expose policy impacts, and empower you to make smart money moves. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the breakdowns that could protect your wallet. Segment 1. The $6.4 trillion shockwave. In just 48 hours, the US stock market lost over $6.4 trillion in value. The Dow Jones and S&P 500 nosedived in a way we haven't seen since the darkest days of 2008. Investors were blindsided, pension funds panicked, and 401ks were obliterated overnight. So what triggered this? In a word, tariffs. Donald Trump, back in the spotlight as the 47th president, dropped a bombshell, a sweeping set of new global tariffs. With barely a moment's warning, he announced up to 20 to 40% tariffs on imports from key trade partners including China, Vietnam, the EU, and even Canada. The markets reacted immediately. The news hit harder than expected, not just for Wall Street, but for Main Street too. Segment 2. How tariffs wreck the economy. Let's break down how tariffs work and why they hurt so much. A tariff is essentially a tax on imported goods. The idea is to make foreign products more expensive so consumers buy American. But here's the catch: American companies rely on global supply chains. They import raw materials, electronics, machinery, and more. When those costs go up, businesses have to make a brutal choice: absorb the cost or pass it on to consumers. And guess what most are choosing? Everything is getting more expensive: groceries, cars, clothing, electronics. Whether you're shopping for school supplies or a new laptop, you're paying the price. These rising costs are gutting the average American's budget. And it's not just consumers. Companies like Apple, Tesla, Qualcomm, Whirlpool, Nike, and Adidas are taking massive hits. Their stock prices have plummeted, and they're caught between two bad options: raise prices or lay off workers. Segment 3. Public panic and presidential apathy. As Americans watch their savings evaporate, the response from the White House has been bizarre. Donald Trump, instead of reassuring the public or presenting an economic recovery plan, posted to social media from a golf course. His message: only the weak lose. It didn't land well. This indifference paired with headlines about him golfing at a Saudi-funded tournament while the economy burns has ignited outrage. Protests erupted in cities like Washington, D.C. and New York, with hashtags like #ResistTrump and #Trump is destroying America trending nationwide. Families are asking real questions: can we still retire? Will our jobs survive? How much worse can this get? Segment 4. Economists sound the alarm. Economists aren't mincing words. Mark Zondi from Moody's Analytics warned that if these tariffs are implemented in full, unemployment could spike from 4% to over 7%, triggering a deep recession. And here's the kicker: the government might not even collect the revenue they expect from these tariffs. Why? Because when people lose jobs, they spend less. And when people spend less, businesses earn less. That means lower income taxes, lower sales taxes, and less corporate tax revenue. Meanwhile, the government has to spend more on unemployment benefits, food assistance, and housing programs. In short, it's a lose-lose scenario. Segment 5. Global backlash. The rest of the world isn't staying silent. Key trade allies like Japan, the UK, Canada, Australia, and the EU are hitting back with retaliation tariffs on American goods. Soybeans, steel, cars, and electronics all are now targets. The very countries Trump claimed were ripping us off are forming new trade alliances without the US. Canada has triggered an emergency response plan. Mexico, sending weekly delegations. China is strategically rerouting supply chains. The US is becoming economically isolated at a time when global cooperation is more essential than ever. Segment 6. Flashbacks to the Great Depression. Economists have compared Trump's tariff crusade to the infamous Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, a policy widely blamed for worsening the Great Depression. Back then, America thought it could protect its economy with high tariffs too. The result, a collapse in global trade, soaring unemployment, and economic disaster. Now, we're seeing history start to repeat itself. A trade war is erupting not only with rivals like China, but with allies. Markets are spiraling, businesses are uncertain, and families are feeling the squeeze. And just like in the past, it's not the political elites or billionaires who will bear the brunt. It's the working class, the teachers, truck drivers, small business owners, and retirees who rely on a stable market to survive. Segment 7. The human cost. Behind the headlines and charts are real people. A teacher in Ohio saw her retirement portfolio shrink by 25% in a week. A small-town auto shop in Texas can't afford parts anymore. A family in Michigan had to cancel college plans because tuition just became unaffordable after inflation pushed living costs even higher. These are not isolated stories, they're a growing national crisis, and yet, the leadership seems more focused on defending a nostalgic, outdated economic model than addressing real-world consequences. Is this what America first looks like, or is it just America alone? So, where does this leave us? In just 48 hours, we saw a massive $6.4 trillion wiped from the US stock market. And while political leaders point fingers, the average American is left wondering, who's really looking out for us? Trump's tariff policy may have been pitched as economic reform, but the results are unmistakable. A stock market crash, rising prices, and a shaken American economy. The question isn't whether we're in trouble, it's how deep the damage will go and what it will take to pull us back. If you found this breakdown valuable, drop a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to Profit Powerhouse for more deep dives into the policies shaping your financial future, because staying informed is the first step to staying financially strong. Until next time, protect your pockets, question the headlines, and power up your profits.